ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। 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 ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं सदा लोकहिते रतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मयसद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम, सुप्रभातम। We will chant the dhyana shlokas. ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। यस्य द्विरदवक्त्राद्याः पारिषद्याः परशतं विघ्नं निघ्नन्ति सततं विश्वक्सेनं तमाश्रये। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अविकाराय शुद्धाय नित्याय परमात्मने सदैकरूपरूपाय विष्णवे सर्वजिष्णवे। यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण जन्मसंसारबन्धनात् विमुच्यते नमस्तस्मै विष्णवे प्रभविष्णवे। ॐ नमो विष्णवे प्रभविष्णवे। Yesterday we introduced the purpose of Mangala Shloka, and today we will discuss on these three Mangala Shlokas which Acharya Shankara introduces in his Bhashyam. सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय Satchidanandarupaaya Satchidanandarupaaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Krishnaya Klishtakarine Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. A very beautiful Mangala Shloka. Acharya Shankara, an authority in the Advaita Vedanta, the one who introduced to the world as though, even though Advaita Tattva was eternal, it was actually brought to limelight by Acharya Shankara through his immaculate explanation, perfect explanation on the Shastra, and it came at a time when it was absolutely required. Acharya Shankara has not only given us this greatest knowledge of Advaita Vedanta, at the same time he has also given lot of grantha as well as stuti for us to take up that beautiful path which can take us to Advaita, which is definitely very important. Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Advaita. The path is very beautifully set. Initially, a seeker requires purification of the mind. And for purification of the mind, the best ever path given by any kind of Shastra is Bhakti Marga. And if you see Acharya's Totras, so beautiful, Bhakti Rasa is so wonderful. One may wonder, he is an authority of Advaita Vedanta, but he is also giving all these stutis, stotrams, etc. Is he a split personality? Like that, thoughts may come. But the point is, we have to take it at the right stage of evolution. And now in this shloka, he beautifully depicts all of them. A shloka which introduces Advaita, Tattva by itself, which introduces the Ishvara Tattva, which introduces the Avatara Tattva, which introduces the Vedanta Tattva, and it also gives a place to the Guru Tattva. Now see, Satchidananda Rupaya. Rupaya means of the nature of. Here, Rupa should not be taken as a form, Rupa should be taken as nature. Now look at that. It introduces Nirguna Tattva, the supreme reality, which is Swaswarupa Lakshana. In fact, it is all of our own pure nature, pure consciousness. What is that? Sat Chit Ananda Swarupaha. We will see a little more on that. Krishnaya. Here, Krishna word is used to introduce Ishvara Tattva, Brahma Tattva plus Maya. Put together is the Ishvara Tattva. And the next word, Swamiji, is Krishna Avatara. Yes. The next word, Aklishtakarine, introduces the Avatara Tattva. Since Aklishtakarine introduces Avatara Tattva, we may take Krishna as the Ishvara Tattva. Then, Vedanta Vedhyaya, Vedanta Tattva is indicated. And what is Vedanta Tattva? Vedas, which are the Pramanam for reaching that highest Nirguna Tattva. And the last one, Buddhi Sakshine, here actually indicates Guru. How do you say Guru? It is the Guru who comes and introduces all the above to our intellect at the initial stage. Vedanta is such a Shastra which requires ruthless analysis. No question of any sentimentalism. No question of any passion. It is ruthless logic. At the same time, logic alone cannot take us there because logic is very dry. And when the buddhi is a little educated, immediately that mind will bring in ahankara. Therefore, bhakti is very important in the path of sadhana. Param Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji says, devotion without knowledge is sentimentalism and crying, in a manner of saying. Knowledge without devotion is dry intellectual exercise. Therefore, knowledge, Gurudev very beautifully uses words, knowledge wedded with devotion. Purushaha wedded with Prakriti. Prakriti here refers to devotion in this particular context. So, knowledge and devotion put together can take us beyond the concepts of knowledge and devotion also, and which will take us to the ultimate Nirguna Tattva. Now look at this beautiful thought process. The whole gamut of Vedanta Shastra is brought into one shloka, and the first shloka which Acharya introduces, that itself becomes the primary Mangala shloka. Think. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Tasmai Gurave Namaha. So he has introduced everything and he has offered his salutations to all. What is the Satchidananda Rupa? Sat is existence, Chit consciousness, and Ananda bliss. And Swarupam, Rupaya here refers to Swarupam, which is the basic nature. I will take up Swarupam first. What do you mean by basic nature? What is Swarupam? We have explained this even in the previous texts when we had taken Sadhana Panchakam, Dhanyashtakam, Tattvabodha, all those places we have explained. But for the newcomers, for the benefit of the newcomers, nature is something which is and which has no vikara. Devoid of vikara is the basic nature. And whenever there is some vikara in it, modification in it, it again automatically comes down, changes its vikara and comes back to its nature, pure nature. And once it comes to pure nature, it remains. Like for example, very often I give the same example for convenience. Water's swabhava, water's swarupa is remaining at room temperature. I add some lakshana to it. Like for example, I go to the kitchen and boil it at 100 degrees centigrade and bring it back and keep. Will the water remain at 100 degrees centigrade for all time? No. 100 degrees centigrade heat is not the swarupa of water. That has been added for our convenience. What happens? The water cools down. Slowly it cools down. You don't have to do anything. You just leave it there. It will cool down, cool down, cool down. To what extent? Until it comes to that room temperature. Once it comes to room temperature, it will no more cool down to become ice. Now take the other side. If you think water is cooling down, then I put it into the freezer, make it into ice cube where it can no more reduce its temperature, and then bring the ice cube and keep it there as a solid piece. What happens? That ice cube does not develop, coldness to it. What does it do? It gains heat. It gains temperature, and slowly the solid cube melts into water. You don't have to put any fire underneath. You just leave it. It melts into water. That water also will be very cold, but you just leave it for some more time. You will find the water again gains heat, again gains temperature, and once it comes to the room temperature, it will no more become hotter. It will remain at room temperature. Once it comes to its swabhava, swasthiti, it remains there. That is called Swarupa Lakshanam. Pure water, we say. What is pure water? H2O. That's all. Anything added to that is not pure. It is impurity in water. Is it not? Pure water is only H2O. Anything added to water will make it impure water. Impurity is not the nature of water. Now don't sit there and think, oh, that means if I add impurity on its own, it will become pure. No. There it will not be like that. Impurity is that which is a foreign body added to the nature. Similarly, all of us actually are Satchidananda Swarupa alone. But the impurity that is added to us is our ahankara, deha bhava, sharira mana buddhi, ahamiti bhavaha. Think. All those are impurities to the Satchidananda Swarupa, which is Parabrahma, Brahman. Now, Acharya here, when he is offering his prostrations, he first of all takes the highest Nirguna Brahma, and he, as an individual, please note, a great realized master, still to guide all of us, he also offers his prayer to the ultimate. Otherwise, our ahankara will also go, I am Satchidananda Swarupa, I don't have to do anything. Out of our own foolishness, we will do that. Therefore, to guide the people accordingly, he offers his, what do you call it as? Prostrations. Secondly, a very beautiful shloka all of us know. Yadyadacharati shreshtaha tattadevetaro janaha sahayat pramanam kurute lokaha tatanuvartate. Yadyad shreshta purushaha acharati itaraha janaha tadeva acharati. Therefore, Acharya is also guiding the student. You are Satchidananda Swarupa, no doubt, but right now you are not experiencing. Therefore, the ahankara with which you are working, offer that ahankara at the feet of the Lord. And the whole set, what is that? Nirguna Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, Avatar Tattva, Vedanta Tattva and Guru Tattva. Everything is given very beautifully here. What is Sat? Sat is existence, that which is. That which is beyond the concept of space and time, beyond the gamut of space and time. Sat means yat trikaleshu tishtati or trikala abhadita vastu. All the three periods of time and all three states of experiences. We will be dealing with this elaborately later. So here I will only introduce in the Mangala Shloka when we are talking about the Namavalihi, that time very elaborately we will explain. Chit. What is Chit? Chit is the consciousness, the enlivening principle, because of which we are what we are. Gurudev very often says this. I also repeat the same words, taking the Manasika Anumati from Gurudev. Because of which we are what we are, without which we are calcium, carbon, phosphorus. This Chit, the pure consciousness, enlivening principle, and Ananda. What is this Ananda? Ananda here refers to not the happiness and joy and pleasure and elation, all that which we talk about, which we understand. Ananda is beyond all that. Ananda is independent of any cause. Our Ananda, as we understand, the joy, pleasure, elation, happiness, all these are caused by a thing, a being, or a situation. And we also understand, this is a very interesting point, all of us know about it, yet we don't understand it in the right way. Any kind of happiness which we experience now, any kind of pleasure, bliss, joy, elation is actually caused by something and it will never remain. This we know. Think. We all are aware. Anything that is caused by an external factor has come and will go. Agama apayinaha anityaha. That is absolutely ephemeral. It cannot stay with us. This is law, Prakriti Dharma. So the bliss what is talked about here is that very Swarupa Lakshana. And now see, what did I say about the water? I add something and what happens? It quietens down. The extra additions, whatever is there, is not its nature. It has to come down and come back to its swasthiti. Similarly, in our Swarupa Lakshana, like how we add dirt in a water, the dirt what is added with us is our ahankara, our deha bhava. This deha bhava, as long as it is there, our ananda cannot be called as bliss. It can be called as joy. It can be called as happiness. And very soon it will go. Even before you recognize it goes away. And no intimation, no WhatsApp message. It will just go. It, in fact, very many times we don't even realize that it has come and we realize it had come only after it goes. Think. So, Acharya here introduces this beautiful thought where Ananda is my Swarupam. It is eternally mine, or rather, it is me myself. So that I am unaware, that beautiful, wonderful presence of Sat, Chit, Ananda, Swarupaha, which I am, is veiled, is covered by our own Ahankara. I and mine with reference to Deha Bhava. Sharira Mana Buddhi, which I am attached to, has covered my real Ananda, and I have become a beggar of Ananda from the things and beings of the world. Think. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya. Here I had mentioned Ishvara Tattva. What is that? Brahman, the supreme consciousness, plus Maya becomes Ishvara Tattva. So Krishna here refers to the Ishvara Tattva. We will be discussing more on that. This is a very, 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 very beautiful word. In fact, this Nama of Bhagavan is not there in the entire Vishnu Sahasranama. Aklishtakari. What a beautiful name. Which introduces Avatara Tattva, where Krishna as a blue boy of Vrindavan is indicated. Aklishtakari means Anayasa Karta, the one who performs actions. How? Now see, effortlessly, spontaneously, all the time cheerfully and flawless. No desires, no struggle, no pain, no tension. This is how Krishna is introduced in our Purana. Very interesting. In fact, I would like to recommend a beautiful talk by Param Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanand on Krishna Avatara, which has really changed my very thinking after I heard this talk probably 35 years back. It really changed my whole thinking. All of us think Sri Krishna is a merry-making person, he is a very, very happy person. Gurudev first introduced the greatest, or rather part of Krishna, the greatest part of Krishna is his smile, not because of anything, in spite of everything. What is that? Why do you say so? He was born in a jail. All the time waiting to be killed. By whom? His own father. And when he was to be hijacked from the jail, and Yamuna is in spate, he had to be put in a basket, and at midnight, when Yamuna is on spate, and there is so much of chaos around, he is taken overnight from one bank to the other bank. Think. And there, he had to give up his original father and mother, and he had to live with another father and mother. And all through Krishna's life you will find there has been problems after problems, problems after problems, situation after situation. How many demons come to him? Think. In spite of everything, he remained happy. He played his flute. He played with Gopika. This is another major issue. In fact, you should definitely listen to that talk. It must be available in the net. You must listen to Gurudev speaking about it. Amazing. And when he was with Gopikas, he was only 7 years old, please. Right? At that time, you cannot think of any other things. And later, Radha, he was enjoying being with his flute. But in his very presence, everything happened. Think. Aklishtakari, effortlessly he handled everything. For us, we can't handle our own little mind. We can't handle our own little things. We can't handle our own little gadgets. Think of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Aklishtakari. What a beautiful word. For everything, whatever we do, we put in so much of effort, so much of tension, so much of struggle, so much of pain. Even to make one coffee, we feel tired. Think. And we want somebody else to make one coffee for us. Somebody else to come and take our plate. Simple things also. But look at Krishna. Everything he did. He gave the greatest knowledge to Arjuna. When the Pandavas said, you have to become a charioteer, he was ready. He never said, what do you mean? I am not a charioteer. I am Bhagavan. He never said. He became the humble devotee of his own devotee. Think. That is the greatness of Sri Krishna. And here, Aklishtakari, he did everything that was expected effortlessly. It just came out from him spontaneously. Think. Such a beautiful word. We will see all these natures, we will see in other Namavali also. We can have a reference at that time. Aklishtakari. You can see such beautiful slokas in the Bhagavad Gita where he makes clear that he is actually never the Karta, though he gets everything done. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptama vaptavyam vartayeva cha karmani. He Partha, me kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nasti. I have no kartavya at all. All of us as a human being, we have our own kartavya, our own duties. He had no kartavya, meaning he is beyond the concept of very kartavya. Nanavaptam avaptavyam. There is nothing that I have to achieve which I had not achieved. There is nothing other than him. What is it that he has not achieved? He has only given tasks for all of us to achieve. Think, he has nothing to achieve. Nowhere to go. Why? He is everywhere. Nothing to gain. Everything is he himself. Nanavaptam avaptavyam. But he says, Varta eva cha karmani. Work remains. Why? Yadyadacharati shreshtaha. Remember? One more very beautiful shloka in Gita. Namam karmani limpanti. Look at that beautiful sentence. Karmaha Mam na limpanti. It can never taint me. It can never disturb me. It can never bind me. Name karma phale spriha. I don't have any spriha. Spriha means what? Desire, want, desperation. Name karma phale. I don't need any karma phala. Why? I am never the karta. Where is the question of karma phala? That is all for you yourself. All of you. Why? You say, I am doing Swamiji, I want this. I am doing Swamiji, I want this. I am not doing this. Why? I don't want this. This want and don't want. Attachment and aversion, not detachment, please. Think. All these are our categories. Whereas he, namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spriha. Itimam abhijanati yaha. Like this way, the one who comes to understand me, meaning what? as my true nature. Yaha abhijanati. Yaha. Look at that word. Common pronoun. Gurudev will very beautifully say, whoever he be, he who. No caste, no creed, no color, no nationality, no sex, nothing. Anybody for that matter. Yaha, whoever he be, he who abhijanati, who understands me correctly, karma bhihi nasabadhyate. Karma can never bind him. In this sloka, he has indicated what? A possibility which we all can achieve. Think. How? By demonstrating. He demonstrates what? I can do everything, yet I don't do anything. Think. There are such beautiful shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, there is no end. When we take up classes on Bhagavad Gita, we'll go more deeper into it. Vedanta Vedyaya, the one who can be known only through Vedas. No choice. Here, the Pramanam is Veda. So, thereby, he introduces something which is the Pramanam, which alone can take us to the higher, nothing else. Vedaha Pramanam te, it is given in the Shastra. Therefore, Vedanta Shastra Pramana Gamnyaha Bhagavan. How beautiful. And then finally, here he introduces Buddhi Sakshine. Buddhi Sakshine can mean two things. One is pure consciousness. He is the very Sakshi of Buddhi. All Buddhi for that matter. He is a Sakshi of everything. And second one is witness of all discriminations. Buddhi is what? A faculty which discriminates. Here, witness of all discriminations is given to introduce Guru Tattva. It is the Guru who understands my ability and he guides the same very Buddhi to understand that Buddhi is not me. How interesting. I have to use my own intelligence to understand that I am not that intelligence. And this nobody else can do. It can only be a Guru. Sakshi Rupe, there is a spelling mistake there. Sakshi Rupena Buddhehe. It is said in Viveka Chudamani. Sakshi Rupena. There is a spelling mistake. We will correct it. Think. Buddhi is the discriminative faculty. And that Buddhi requires to be educated. And what is the education there? That Buddhi is only a gadget. I am not that Buddhi. Therefore, I have to step up, transcend from the identity with Sharira Mana Buddhi and go beyond to understand my true nature. And this only a Guru can do it. Therefore, with this, the Guru Tattva, the Deshikaha, as it is said in Viveka Chodamani, is introduced. So now see, Nirguna Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, Avatar Tattva, Vedanta Tattva, and Guru Tattva, all of them, Tasmai Gurave Namaha. One shloka, first shloka, he has finished. Brahma, Atma, Aikyam. Brahmatma, Jivatma, Aikyam. All you can put it into this. In fact, whole Vedanta is beautifully brought into one shloka, in the very first shloka. How wonderful. Think. I found another beautiful similar shloka in Tulsi Ramayana. I am a great bhakta of Tulsidas ji and Tulsi Ramayana. Therefore, I will keep introducing. In the Sundarakanda of Tulsi Ramayana, Tulsidas ji gives exactly similar shloka. Shantam Shashvatam Aprameyam Anagham निर्वाण शांति प्रदम ब्रह्मा शंभु फणीन्द्र सेव्य मनीषम वेदांत वेद्यम विभुम रामाख्यम जगदीश्वरम सुरगुरुम माया मनुष्यम हरिम वंदेहम करुणाकरम रघुवरम भूपाल चूड़ामणिम. Shantam. First introductory word, Shantam, peace. Peace not caused by any external effort, peace itself, independent of things, beings, circumstances, situations. I am at peace. Come what may, let anything happen. Shantam. This is the very nature of Brahman, where there is no turbulences. And what kind of Shantam? Shashvatam Shantam. Permanent peace. Uninterrupted. Undisturbed. Aprameyam. Immeasurable. This peace is something you cannot say, morning I am peaceful, Swamiji, afternoon some disturbance will be there, and evening I become a little dull. Is it not? Think. Our peace is time bound when no other problems come. Meaning what? My peace is equal to no problems. Or rather, not no problems, actually speaking, absence of problems. Why do we go to temple? In temple, we leave everything behind when we leave the slippers. And we go inside and look at the beautiful form of the Lord with alankara. And then I close my eyes. I take the Lord in my heart. When I take the Lord in my heart and leave all my problems and sufferings and attachments behind, there is so much of joy. Think. Therefore, I want to go there again and again. That peace which I get in front of Bhagavan, though people go and keep on crying and begging and all that, that is all immaterial. That's a secondary issue. Generally speaking, when you leave the slipper, you leave your identity behind. And go in front of Bhagavan. Bhagavan, thank you. I am fine. How many? Think. That ability to leave behind everything, situation, things and beings away from me and go in front of Bhagavan. That is why, in the Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna takes away the clothes of Gopikas while they are bathing in the river. What does that mean? That does not indicate any sexual aspect of it. It means I have covered myself with my own ego and egocentric desires. When I remove that covering, what is there is only pure nature. With that purity in thought, when I go to Bhagavan, He takes us. Think. That pure nature, that pure thinking, when I go in front of Bhagavan, I am fine. Think. And that peace is immeasurable, truly speaking. But we identify with smaller, pettier peace and smaller, pettier happiness and joy, and then we say, oh, it is beautiful. What to talk of that peace then? Aprameyam, anagham, sinless. That Purushottama, what we call Purusha, ultimate Satchidananda Swarupa, is anagham, sinless, flawless. Nirvana Shanti Pradam. Nirvana Shantihi. It represents that Shanti, that peace of Nirvana. And now look at the word Shanti Pradam. The giver of that Nirvana Shanti. The one who will bless us with that Nirvana Shanti. Now look at that first line. Shantam Shanti Pradam. Only who is at peace can give you peace. Nothing else in this world can give you that peace. And that only Brahma Tattva can give. We will continue tomorrow. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.